All right, everybody. Welcome to the first ever First Things First Cybersecurity Daily Threat Briefing. We are going to figure this out together. I want to make this a daily, if not a 3 times a week kind of thing. What we're going to do is we're going to jump in. We're going to go through the top news stories of the day, compliments of CISO series. This is, I'm going to facilitate discussion. I'm going to share my reflections and thoughts. If you have some coffee, please get a cup and enjoy. And let's get into it. What's up? Oh, hey, Josh. Yeah. All right. So let's do this. This is going to be the official. Here it is. Okay. I'm going to bring in chat, by the way. This is cybersecurity headlines. Who will be listening to? Let me know if you can't hear it too well. We're gonna go right in, and we're gonna do this. Let's do it.
From the CISO series, it's Cybersecurity Headlines.
It's Friday, December 3rd, 2021. Emotet now spreads via fake Adobe Windows app installer packages. E-commerce servers are being targeted with remote access malware that hides on Nginx web servers in a way that makes it virtually invisible to security solutions. The threat received the name NginRat, N-G-I-N Rat, a combination of the application it targets and the remote access capabilities it provides, and is being used in server-side attacks to steal payment card data from online stores. NginRat was found on e-commerce servers in North America and Europe that had been infected with cronRat, a remote access Trojan that hides payloads in tasks scheduled to execute on an invalid day of the calendar. NginRat has infected servers in the US, Germany, and France where it injects into Nginx processes that are indistinguishable from legitimate ones, allowing it to remain undetected.
All right. So, first thing off the rip, I work in manufacturing now. I don't work in e-commerce. I don't have web apps in my environment. But if you are working in in retail or e-commerce or SaaS solutions and you're using this Nginx engine for, I'm assuming, payment processing because of the fact that the rat is stealing credit cards, this is definitely something that you want to make sure you are aware of and at least looking for indicators of compromise. The news story just said that, in fact, EDR Solutions anti-malware is not currently detecting this remote access Trojan, which is nasty business. So definitely check out if this is applicable to you. For me, this is something that I'm just going to be aware of and continue to stay abreast of, but it doesn't really affect me in a day-to-day perspective. Plus, with the credit card industry the way it is nowadays, like hopefully you guys aren't using debit cards to make transactions. And when credit cards, if credit cards get stolen, like what's the ultimate objective of this particular rat? The credit card companies are pretty savvy with machine learning to detect unusual payments and not force you to pay for them. So that's how that works.
Data from 400,000 Planned Parenthood patients compromised. Planned Parenthood Los Angeles found suspicious activity on its computer network on October 17th. In response to the breach, the organization notified law enforcement and a third-party cybersecurity investigative team, which is conducting an ongoing investigation into the breach. The cybersecurity team determined that a cyber attacker accessed the Planned Parenthood network between October 9th and 17th, installed malware and ransomware, and exfiltrated files containing patient data from the Planned Parenthood system, including patient names, birth dates, insurance information, and clinical data, including diagnosis and treatment information.
Yeah, so here's a fun one. Now, this one is just an interesting news story as far as I'm concerned, but it's a really rare threat actor. Typically, when we see threat actors, it's much more financially focused or nation state threat actor focused. It's very rare that you get this hacktivism type focus. And I'm not saying it's completely hacktivism, but Planned Parenthood, abortion, that's a Supreme Court case right now. Like, this is a very polarizing topic. And the fact that a Planned Parenthood clinic was targeted and all of the patient data was compromised, obviously huge HIPAA violation. But this is, to me, as far as I can tell, a great use case of hacktivism as kind of the target objective versus, more of the traditional financials. Let's keep it going.
Double extortion ransomware victims soar 935%. Group IB's High-Tech Crime Trends 2021-2022 report covers the period from the second half of 2020 to the first half of 2021. During that time, an unholy alliance of initial access brokers and ransomware as a service affiliate programs has led to a surge in breaches, according to the report. In total, the number of breach victims on ransomware data leak sites surged from 229 in the previous reporting period to 2,371. During the same period, the number of leak sites more than doubled to 28, and the number of ransomware as a service affiliates increased 19%, with 21 new groups discovered. Group IB warns that even if victim organizations pay the ransom, their data often ends up on these sites.
Oh my God. All right. So good morning, everybody. This is Tanzania Pea Berry Coffee. I hope you're drinking your drink of choice and getting your cybersecurity headlines. Story we just heard talks about how extortion is continuing to go up. Ransomware as a service is a really successful business model, guys. I know that geopolitically, the kind of first world countries that are allied are working on ransomware and breaking down ransomware, but ransomware is still hot right now. And once they steal that data, whether you pay them to unlock, unless a victim pays to unlock their computers, they still have that data, and they're trying to double down on the value of the attack or the hack, and that's what this extortion is. So no surprise that it's continuing to increase. Plus, again, with that ransomware as a service model, you can be like a complete skid. Basically, you don't have to have real tech skills. You just need to be able to get access and drop malware on an environment, and that's all you got. So yeah, good morning. Again, hey, if you guys got feedback too about format, about style, about this whole thing, I want to do this 3 times a week, 5 times a week, and this is the first go around, so drop it in chat if you will. If you have any feedback or comments, the audio, the look, the feel, the coffee, the time, etc. Let's go.
Jack Dorsey's Square changes its name to Block. Days after Jack Dorsey resigned as chief executive of Twitter, his other company is changing its name. Square, the digital payments company he owns and runs, will now go under the new corporate name of Block. The individual businesses owned by Block, or building blocks as the company puts it, such as Square and music streaming platform Tidal, will retain their original names, but will now serve under the Block umbrella. Okay. This rebrand had been planned for over a year, and as Block now states from its Twitter account, we're here to build simple tools to increase access to the economy.
All right. That news story is like...
And now, a word from our sponsor,
right? Like
Votiro.
CEO, Twitter.
Your users need to accept and open files to do their jobs. Keep them safe and productive with Votiro. With Votiro Zero Trust File Sanitation API, your users can download and use any file instantly, from PDF to Autodesk CAD, with malicious code already removed and full file usability intact. The signatureless file sanitation process happens in milliseconds without user friction. Visit Votiro.com and learn why millions of users trust Votiro to disarm billions of files.
What gives, man? Are you serious with this computer? Bro.
From the CISO series, it's Cybersecurity Headlines.
Company is changing its name. Square, the digital payment. The individual businesses. The individual with Votiro. Visit Votiro.com and learn why millions of users trust Votiro to disarm billions of files each year. That's Votiro.
Oh, yeah. All right, here we go. Back to the news.
CISA adds Zoho, Qualcomm, and MikroTik flaws to their must-patch list. The U.S. government's cybersecurity agency has updated its catalog of known exploited vulnerabilities and set deadlines for federal agencies to apply fixes for security defects in software made by Qualcomm, MikroTik, Zoho, and the Apache Software Foundation. Citing evidence of active exploitation against 5 specific vulnerabilities, CISA warned that further delays in applying available fixes, quote, pose significant risk to the federal enterprise, end quote. Federal agencies have until December 15, 2021 to apply patches for a pair of Zoho Managed Engine Service Desk flaws that have been at the center of documented APT attacks over the last few months.
Okay, so I'm pausing it as we talk. Thank you for the feedback, everybody. Real quick, so that story is interesting, but what you really should take away from that particular story, and this came out a couple weeks ago, and this is absolutely fantastic. Drop this knowledge on people that you're interviewing with or that you work with. Let me share a different screen. CISA, who's like responsible for kind of like public-private partnerships, government, private sector, recently hired Jen Easterly as their director, and she's doing great work. But check this out. This CISA released this known exploited vulnerabilities catalog. This thing is awesome. Hold on, are you guys not seeing this? Yeah, you are, right? Yeah, check this out. This is a list of all publicly known exploited vulnerabilities. So when we talk about vulnerability management, guys, right? When we talk about vulnerability management, like just because something's vulnerable doesn't mean that it's a high risk, right? It can be a risk, and whether or not there's an exploit available or not is a temporal variable, that can change over time. But just because it's vulnerable, just because it shows up in a scan, just because it says critical, doesn't necessarily mean it's critical for your environment. What this list does is this list helps put context to the reality of whether or not those vulnerabilities are exploitable, right? So if you have vulnerabilities on your DMZ web app server, things facing the internet, you can use this catalog to quickly find if there's exploits out there and what they look like, right? So hopefully you guys, if you knew about this, then you know how great it is. And if you didn't, hopefully you can go ahead and use that. Let's keep going.
FBI document shows what data can be obtained from some encrypted messaging apps. A recently uncovered FBI training document shows that U.S. law enforcement can gain limited access to the content of encrypted messages from secure messaging services like iMessage, Line, and WhatsApp, but not to messages sent via Signal, Telegram, Threema, Viber, WeChat, or Wicker.
Yeah.
The document, obtained earlier this month following a Freedom of Information Access request filed by Property of the People, a U.S. non-profit dedicated to government transparency, appears to contain training advice for what type of data agents can obtain from the operators of encrypted messaging services and the legal processes they have to go through. A copy of this document is available for view at therecord.media.
Therecord.media.
9 Wi-Fi routers used by millions were vulnerable to flaws.
Mm-hmm.
Security researchers analyzed 9 popular Wi-Fi routers and found a total of 226 potential vulnerabilities in them, even when running the latest firmware. The tested routers are made by Asus, AVM, D-Link, Netgear, Etamax, TP-Link, Synology, and Linksys, and are used by millions of people. The frontrunners in terms of the number of vulnerabilities are the TP-Link Archer AX6000, having 32 flaws, and the Synology RT2600AC, which has 30 security bugs.
Interesting. Okay, so real quick, when I hear that, all of those Wi-Fi product lines, Asus, D-Link, Netgear, Synology, like those, as far as I know, are mostly like not commercial, commercial grade. Like they're designed for home end users and small businesses. Like large networks aren't going to be using those brands, right? They'll be using Cisco or Palo Alto or something more enterprise grade. So I think really, if you're a one-man IT shop, if you're a one-man or one-woman cybersecurity shop, right? If you're a small business, if you're an MSP that helps small businesses, you may want to check out whether or not these access points are in fact what they're using, because it's a high probability that they are. Now, they said 226 potential vulnerabilities, so I don't quite know what that means. But for me, if I was responsible for these small businesses, for example, I would follow up on this and take a look. Again, for my environment, we use enterprise grade stuff, so I'm not too worried about this, but it is interesting. Do love the work of security researchers out there. Very, very valuable asset to our community. Let's round this baby out.
UK Cabinet Office fined $500,000 over New Year's Honours List data breach. UK's data watchdog levied the fine after the home addresses of the 2020 New Year's Honours recipients were published on the 27th of December 2019 on the gov.uk website. The Information Commissioner's Office found officials failed to put in place appropriate technical and organizational measures to prevent the unauthorized disclosure of personal information in breach of data protection law. The list included prominent public figures such as Elton John, as well as more than a dozen Ministry of Defense employees and senior counterterrorism officers.
Oh my God. Bro, did you guys hear that? That sucks. First of all, Europe doesn't joke around when it comes to private information. GDPR is like a sledgehammer. Okay, so 500 grand fine. That sucks. But the more important thing is they publish the home address and phone numbers of prominent people, including celebrities like Elton John. And like, while that's interesting, the more important thing is, did you hear the last part? Counter espionage spies, like their public information, like that's like what the Mission Impossible 1, the movie storyline was about, was getting that data out of that out of the DoD, right? Or the Pentagon. Like, this is insane that information was made public. I don't even know why that was available, but that's pretty insane. So $500,000 grand and or fine, and I suspect that those counter spies are probably going to have to move. God, that sucks. All right.
It's Friday, and you know what that means. We once again got a slate of great live content available for you from the CISO series.
Okay, so yeah, CISO series is just going to pump the rest of their platform, which is fine. Again, this is CISOseries.com. If you guys want to listen to it yourself, I subscribe to it in my podcast. I'm going to check chat. Let's have a minute. I do want you guys to be aware that Neil Burgess on Cyber and Security is live streaming right now, or he should be. I can't confirm that, but if once this is over, if you guys want to flip over there, he does it every Friday. Great show. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this. Any thoughts? I kind of came in hot from doing something with my kids, but you're getting your news story, you're getting your coffee, you're getting your threat briefing, and we're networking right here. So let me check out chat and see what's going on. I am promoting. Oh, thank you, Base. I am streaming on Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter, and YouTube. But the only chat that I can really see is looks like YouTube. Oh no, LinkedIn's there. There we go. Hey, Elvis. Okay. So any thoughts initially on this stream? Okay, good job. Thank you. I definitely want this to be valuable, guys. I've told a couple of you already. Privately, I literally do this every single morning. I get coffee, I listen to this podcast, and I reflect and think about whether these stories are interesting, or do they actually apply to my home or my home. I just saw Tom's residential routers. Or does it apply to my day-to-day job? The environment that I'm responsible for protecting, does this matter? So like when things like, Proxy Shell and Exchange 0 days and Blue Keep and all this stuff pops, we're right on top of it. And we're doing it. Okay. Yeah, absolutely. All right. So I'm going to drop it, guys. I want to keep it to 30 minutes if I can. Actually, I started a little late, didn't I? Let's take a minute. Any thoughts, feedback, questions, guys? I hope you enjoyed the show last night with Charles Finfrock. We did the live stream. I went back and listened to it afterwards. My mic sounded like totally blown out, y'all. So I've put a normalizer, software normalizer on my mic. So I'm hoping that I sound crispy and don't sound blown out like I did last night. I get super excited. I talk wicked loud, especially when I'm really talking about cybersecurity. So I want to produce a good show for y'all. It's informative. I'm switching into cybersecurity from a hobby to a career. Any quick thoughts on certs versus degree? Yeah. So PN Pexen Duh. I would just say, this is kind of my go-to. Security Plus is a fine foundational certification. And then once you go from there, it's really where do you want to go? If you want to go offensive security penetration testing, the market for job opportunities is smaller than other areas, but there's really, a lot of work's been done. There's a pretty clear path. You can do INE's PTS and then go get their EJPT. Another option is you can go through the Cyber Mentor Academy, and you can get like their collection of training, which prepares you for their certification, which is the PNPT. Both trainings and certifications have their, pros and cons basically. So, check that out. If you want defense, and this wouldn't hurt no matter what, but if you want to go defensive route, I recommend going to Blue Team Labs Online, Range Force. These are websites, by the way. Even try Hack Me, which is doing the advent of Christmas right now. Like that's more offensive skills, but by doing them, you will learn defensive mechanisms or defensive skills. And right now, guys, I know some of you work in the industry. Some of you are trying to get in the industry right now. Practical skills reign supreme, right? So if you have 4 years of practical experience, or you spent 4 years getting a bachelor's degree in cybersecurity, the 4 years practical experience would probably have the edge if the 2 candidates were applying to the same job. It's just the environment right now, right? So if you are going through school, I'd encourage you to be getting extracurricular work done, right? Doing labs, doing these blue team labs online, this try hack me stuff like that. Don't just rely on the degree exclusively, because you're going to graduate and you're going to like step off campus and there's going to be a tumbleweed going by, and you're not going to want that. Okay. All right, what do we got here? Jermaine, I'll take a couple more questions. I don't want to cut into Neil's stream too much here. I actually want you to know, how do you learn each framework, NIST, HIPAA, et cetera? Yeah, Jermaine, it's really just exposure and experience. I worked in federal IT for 7 years, got a lot of FISMA slash NIST experience. So, I would argue an expert in that area, but it's just because I did it every day for years. The material for NIST is really dense and really comprehensive, but it's very dry, and it's written like it's written by academics, right? So it's not like a novel. It's not a Clancy page turner. It's much more dry, and you almost have to understand um, what the information security program looks like as a program in order to really maximize the value of any of the NIST documentation. And they have one, the NIST 837, which is like the risk management framework and how you would build out a program. But if you're walking into it with no exposure, it's a little difficult to digest. So I would just say that. For what it's worth, uh, just as a little teaser, I know some of you are regulars of the channel, and I sincerely appreciate that. You may have heard me mention the enterprise risk assessment training that I've been working on. I am still developing that, but I also noticed the other day, like someone asked me, is there any GRC training? And I always say there isn't. And I was thinking about it. I was actually thinking of you, David. I was thinking, why isn't there any GRC training that's real practical? Because I tell people to go read NIST and it's so dry. So I'm actually working on a course right now. I'll actually bring it up if you guys want to see it. I'm actually working on a course right now that is basically, I'm tentatively calling it the definitive GRC masterclass. Here, if you guys want to see this, I don't know if you guys don't want to see this, just say don't do this, Jerry. Okay, see, there's my enterprise. Look at, okay, so here's the definitive GRC analyst masterclass. And the premise of it is, you can see I've already built it out. I've already started recording. The premise is, here's the getting started module, then a cybersecurity primer if you have no background in IT, and then a compliance and audit work area. But here's the interesting thing. I've put obviously the content, but then I have a practical lab section that I'm building out. And then at the end, I tell you the resume bullets that you've unlocked, basically. So I'll actually give you like what the resume bullet would be based on this lab and the education that you got in that module. I'm doing one on security awareness, again, with a lab and a resume bullet. I'm doing one on risk and analyst work. Let's assess risk. So we'll step through that. And information security governance work, which is important. Here's the lab. We're going to write a policy. That's kind of a dry lab, but it is one that's important. And then I'm going to show you, basically, now that you got all these skills and these resume bullets, let's use it to walk through getting a job. Okay. So that's something that I'm working on that I feel like people could find value in, and help them and basically fill a huge gap in our training curriculum, right? We talk about, INE and PTS and TCM and PNPT, right, on the red side, the blue side, blue team labs. But the GRC people, they get no love. So I'm trying to bring some love. So yeah, Jermaine, I'm trying to target end of December. That's a pretty aggressive timeline, but I would definitely think this would be out by the end of January. Absolutely. In fact, I'm actually going to be asking the community for 5 volunteers. At some point, I'll be asking on Discord for 5 volunteers if they would like to go through the full training and provide feedback so I can, tweak it. I feel pretty good about it, but I want a student's perspective. And I think 5 people would be a good sample size to walk through it. You'd have to be able to commit the time to go through it and then be fair to provide me critical feedback on how I can improve it, or or something that should be taken out or whatever. I don't care, but that's the deal. So if put that in the back of your head if you guys are thinking about it. No, it won't be on TCM, Tom. It'll be, if you're talking to me, it'll be, I was going to work with Cyber Mentor for that enterprise risk assessment one, but I don't know if this practical GRC one aligns with what he's trying to do. So I just bought Teachable. They were doing a Black Friday deal, 50% off. So I think it was like $300. So I don't, I really like Heath and I love his platform. But for me, for this project, I just wanted to be able to control that piece of it so I didn't have to bother him, especially if I was going to be making changes and updates and stuff. So, all right, guys, love the community. I hope you all have an excellent Friday. I think I'm probably going to do this on Wednesday next week, if that works for everybody. I know my West Coast people that this time frame is tough. Base, I'm really glad to see you in there. I appreciate you getting up early. If you guys need anything, have any feedback, get with me on Discord. There is a Simply Cyber feedback and suggestions channel under the Simply Cyber section on Discord. Drop your comments in there. I want first things first to be a thing. I want us all to have this be part of our day, so you guys can stay informed, stay up on like whatever the current threats are. It's going to help you if you're trying to break into the industry. I guarantee you're going to get the question, how do you stay informed? How do you stay up on current events? It moves so quickly. You can say, I watch Simply Cyber or Cyber Insecurity, and that's great answers. But you can say, I listen to a daily podcast every morning. And by the way, like that interview is going to happen on a weekday. So you could literally say, I listen to a podcast every day. This morning, they talked about, how CISA is expanding their exploited vulnerabilities list. And also, I know you guys had mentioned about, expanding your network, right? Be careful, because right now, this morning, it was published that these 7 residential router companies recently discovered 220 vulnerabilities. So, just be cognizant if you're going to invest heavily in D-Link small business that, be aware of that, right? It makes you much more proactive, which is so much more valuable. I'm telling you, it's so much more valuable if you can do independent research and stay informed on your own. Okay, that's going to do it. I do see some questions in here, so I appreciate it. Oh, Discord. If you type bang Discord, bang, I'm a computer science person, you'll get the Discord information. Come on over there. There's like a couple hundred people usually active in Discord. I think the Discord's got like maybe 1,700 people. Oh yeah, I'll play that one time. I'll just send everybody off with love it, love it, love it.
I'm a crypto evangelist. I love it, love it, love it.
All right, cool. All right, everybody, be good. Thank you so much. Again, this is the pilot episode. Let's make this something great. Okay. Until next time.